Hello everyone. So in this video, let us start looking at one more question on data interpretation. So the question is about production, consumption, importing, and exporting of a particular metal. So I will be showing the question to you, and you can see one by one each question, and then you can try to solve it yourself. So first, this is the description. The following chart provides the data of production consumption in metric tons of material called tantalum by various countries. Opening inventory is mentioned by some countries, and based on this data, answer the following question. So here you can see in the first chart, production and consumption values are given. In the next chart, the import and export of that particular tantalum material is given. And the question number 6 is something like this: what is the closing inventory? And question number 7 is like this, and these are the options. Question number 8 is like this. Question number 9 is like this. And finally, question number 10 is like this. So I have now given you all the questions. So you can pause the video and look at the data and try to answer the questions that are mentioned here. So now let me start studying this problem, and I will be solving one by one. Okay, so let's see. The opening inventory is given, and then production consumption is given, and then import export is given. So what is the closing inventory of the country Brazil? Okay, so let's try to work on this. So closing inventory. So I think here we can simply say closing inventory. So I think just from our common sense, we can write a formula, that is opening inventory. So I had already some inventory storage of that particular material. To that, I will add the production. From that, I will subtract the consumption. And to that, I will add the import. Because whenever you import, your inventory will increase, and whenever you export, your inventory will decrease. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, so this whole thing will be equal to closing inventory. Okay, so now let's say for Brazil. Okay, so let's calculate for Brazil what it is. Okay, so first I need the opening inventory, so I'll just go up. So here we can see Rwanda, Congo, Brazil. Brazil is the third country in the list, and 150, 170, and 165. So 165 metric tons. Okay, so that is the opening inventory. 165 metric tons is the opening inventory. How much is the production? So that will come from the production consumption chart. So you look at the Brazil here, the third country, and if you see the production is 260 and the consumption is 140. Okay, so 260 is the production and 140 is the consumption. Now, what about import and export? So now Brazil is completely an exporting country as per this. So it is exporting about 80 and import is zero for Brazil, okay, because the Brazil is here. So import again. So import is zero and export is 80. So 0 and 80. Now let us make sure that we get, so this will be positive, production also positive, consumption will be negative, import will be positive, and export will be negative. So this is what I need to do now. So I can do it with calculator. So let me quickly do that. So 165 plus 260. So let me go to the calculator. Sorry. Okay. So 165 plus 260 minus 140 minus 80. So this is the simple calculation I'm doing. So I'm getting the answer 205 metric tons. Okay, so this 205 metric tons will be the closing inventory for Brazil. So let us see whether this matches with any of the answers. So if I go to the question number 6, yes, option A, that is here, is matching 205. Okay, so here, for the question number 1, the answer is A. So let's continue with the second question. Which country have the lowest closing inventory of tantalum? So now we need to find closing inventory of all the countries and then find the lowest. Okay, so and the choices are Japan, China, Brazil, and USA. So closing inventory for all countries, it is little difficult, because I mean it's a not difficult, it's easy, but it is a lengthy process. So let us see, simple observation will it lead to the answer. See, Brazil, we already know. The closing inventory of Brazil is 205. Okay, so let us keep that in mind. Brazil is 205. Now, Japan, China, and USA, we need to see. So, first, we'll see opening inventory. So, for example, Japan, see, the six countries are there. Last three countries are China, Japan, and USA. So, 165 is China, 165 is Japan, and USA is 160. Almost the opening inventory is same. Okay, so simply I will say ignore opening inventory because it is same 165, 165, and 160 for USA. Slight 5 is the difference. We'll ignore it for the time being and see what happens. Now, again, what is our objective? Objective is lowest closing inventory. Okay, so when the closing inventory will be low, so when your consumption is high and production is low, the closing inventory will be low. So let us look at that data now. We are interested in China, Japan, and USA. So these three countries. So here you notice China consumption is 120, and whereas the production is less, whereas the consumption is more. So, so definitely China can be one answer. Now, whereas Japan, if you see, 130 is the production and 200, so only 70 is the difference. Whereas here the difference is much more than 70, uh, about 140 something like that. So compared to China and Japan, I think China is winning because Japan, the this thing is very about 70 only, and USA also kind of competitive. 130 is the production and 260, that means around 130. Okay, so because of this production consumption, 130 is adding to the inventory, whereas here, sorry, 130 is subtracting from the inventory, and whereas here 120 to 280, so almost if I subtract 160, so huge difference is there in the case of China, and Japan is anyway out of this thing because it's only minus 70. Okay, so now the competition is between China and USA for the lowest inventory. Okay, so now let us look at import export. So now all of them are importing. Okay, so USA, Japan, and China are all are importing, and Japan is importing very less. So Japan is importing only 20, whereas China and USA are importing almost 70. Okay, so minus. So whenever you import, then your inventory will add. So this will be plus 70 and plus 70, and whereas here the import is only plus 20. Okay, so now here almost if you see this one, it's around minus 90, and whereas I think this one, not now again how much it will be. So it will be minus 60, and whereas this one is around minus 50, something like that. So overall, if you see, the more reduction is there in the case of China. So according to me, the answer is China. Okay, so about all these things, A, B, C, D. So the option will be China. So now this is just based on the data. I am just visually I am seeing, and then I am calculating. Okay, so So but then see from opening inventory, so but then this is not the correct way. You, if you want to really solve it clearly step by step, you can also do it, but then I think this is good enough for me. So now comes to the eighth question. If pie chart were to be made consisting of pies representing production, import, and absolute change in inventory for Japan, what will be the angle occupied by pie representing the production? Anyway, so let us see production, import, and absolute change in inventory. So let us do that. Third question I'm solving. Okay, so for Japan, so I need three quantities: production, import, and absolute value of delta in inventory. Okay, so let us see what these values are. So directly production of Japan we can directly read from the chart. So what is it? So if you see here Japan and production is the dark color one. So here you can see between 120 and 140. So that is 130. So 130 metric tons of tantalum is the production of Japan. Now how much it is importing? So now let us see import. So here import is this one. So import is 20. So even though minus 20, you don't worry about that because as long as you are labeling it as import and export, we can always consider the absolute value. So that is 20. So Japan import is 20 metric ton. Now the question is what is the change in inventory? For that I need to know opening inventory and all these things. So let us find the opening inventory of Japan. So the question is about Japan. Okay. So Japan is one, two, three, four, fifth country. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 165. Already we have seen that. Opening inventory is 165. Next, now I want to see production and this one. So production will increase the inventory 130 and 200 is a consumption. So plus 130 and minus 200 is the production and consumption. And then whether import and export, already we have seen we are importing 20. So import will increase. So this will be the closing inventory. So let's do this 165 plus 130, 165 plus 130 minus 200 plus 20. So this gives me 115. Okay, that is a closing inventory of the Japan. Now, what is the difference between opening inventory and closing inventory? 165 minus 155, that is 50 metric ton is the closing inventory. Now, the concept is we are going to draw a pie chart. Okay, so if a pie chart is drawn, the what is the angle taken by the production in that pie chart? So looks like it is majority only. So 50, 70. So total, what is the total here? So 0, 5, 6, 7, and 1 0 and 200. So 130 out of 200. Okay, so 130 out of 200 into 360 degrees in the pie chart will give me the angle for that. Okay, so 130 divided by 200 into 360 will give the angle. So which is about 234 degrees I'm getting. So let us see whether that angle is available in the options. So yes, so in the eighth question, if you see the option D, that is matching. Okay, so option D is our correct answer. So that is actually not third question, eighth question, option D. Now let's continue. So I think I need a new page here. So ninth question or fourth question in the set. Okay. What is the absolute difference between the total production and consumption of tantalum in all six countries? Now here I need to go for total production and consumption, and I want to find the absolute difference. Okay. So let us look at the production and consumption here. Now, basically, the point is I need to add all the productions and I need to subtract all the consumptions. But here itself, if you notice, there is a 280 production here and 280 consumption here. So these two will cancel out each other. Okay, the production of Rwanda is cancelling out with the consumption of China. So these two will cancel out. Here 260 production and here 260 consumption. These two will also cancel out. Similarly, these two will also cancel out. So I need not even consider all this, the above six ones. Now below you see 100, 140, 140 I have. So that is consumption. So 100 plus 140 plus 140. And here if you see, now looking at the production. So here consumption I am considering. So here production, because the above this three and this three are cancelling out each other. So I only need to consider this six. So here it is 120, here 130, and here 130. Okay, so 120 plus 130 plus 130. Again, if you notice, here 10 is the difference, here 10 is the difference, here 20 is the difference in the reverse way. So therefore, like here it is minus 20 plus 10 is the difference. So overall, the absolute difference, both of them is becoming zero. So 0 metric ton is the absolute difference between the production and consumption. That is the answer for the ninth question. So again, if you see, we have the answer here as the option B. That is my final answer. So ninth option is B. So let's continue to the final question, that is 10th question in this set. If it is known that China imported 10 metric tons of tantalum from Congo, then how much did it import from Rwanda? So basically, given data, so let's call it China and Congo, 10 metric tons of tantalum from Congo. So I'll just put an arrow like this and then say 10 metric ton. How much did it import from Rwanda? So there is another country called Rwanda, and then how much did it import? That is a question. So now let us look at import export. So if you see China, what is the China comes under importing country. The total import is about 70. Okay, so total import is 70. So now already 10 is considered here. Will it become 60? But the problem is, even Congo, even Brazil is exporting. So maybe some, like, there will be some other importing between, like the trade between Brazil and China. So there may be some number here. So unless I know this number cannot be determined. The answer is not 60. It may be something. So if this is X, then it will be 70 minus or whatever, 60 minus X or something like that. So basically, the because the other data is not given, the answer is C cannot be determined. So that's it. So these are my answers. So here the answer was A. Let me highlight it. And then, so lowest, actually here also you can calculate everything, but I think we calculated the answer to be, uh, what was that? The second question, right? So let me see. Actually, I forgot what was my answer before. Anyway, so I think already it was there, marked before. So with this, I think I solved all the questions in this set. So that's it. I hope you like this data interpretation question. So it is in a way difficult, but actually it is easy. See you in the next video. Thank you.